Namaskar, my name is Poonam Gulalia, and in today's video we will try and discuss the importance of group work and group process as an integral part of our fieldwork engagement. It is important to understand that group work and group processes are being taught in the classroom to us, but we also need to learn the skills to practice the same in the field. Some of us may get the opportunity to undertake group work at an initial stage of our fieldwork journey. Some others may get the opportunity later on, depending on the fieldwork placement and the objective with which the organizations are working in the field. It is also possible, if we engage in community work, that we might get opportunities to undertake group work. With this background, it is important to explain that group work is a modality by which an attempt is made for a change in the environment or in the members, group members' intrapersonal or interpersonal relationships. In this context, the role of the group worker, the role of the student social worker who is going to play the role of a group worker becomes extremely important. Herein lies the value of the skills which he, she or they are required to imbibe in the process of undertaking group work. One important component, one important understanding and one important assumption which needs to be kept in mind when undertaking group work is that we believe in the inherent dignity and worth of each individual. We value the fact that each individual who is a group member brings with him or her their own strengths and limitations to the group. We believe as a group worker in the democratic processes of engaging with the group members. So what becomes essential then for a group worker is leadership skills and communication skills. These two components of leadership and communication play an extremely effective role for engaging in group work activity. You might have studied in the class where group work is taught and sometimes called working with groups, the 5 stages of the life cycle of a group, and sometimes we take it for granted what these 5 stages are, but when we actually operationalize it in the field, when we engage with these processes with the group that we are working with, we begin to find meaning in these stages, and it starts impacting us very differently in understanding group work and the processes involved in group work. So what are these stages? Just to recall, these stages are forming, storming, norming, performing and adjourning. What is the first stage? The first stage is formation of the group, called forming. So what is the background with which this group is being constituted? What is the reason which brings members together to constitute a group? And what are the circumstances in this initial stage? One, we need to keep in mind is that the situation is unclear. There's an element of disorganization because it's the first stage of coming together. So people from different backgrounds, with different mindsets, with different personalities, with similar mindsets, but different personalities could come together and could have varied reasons for becoming part of the group. What is the second stage? It's called storming. What does that imply? It implies that because as individuals with different backgrounds and mindsets we are coming together, there is possibility of conflict, there is possibility of disruption, there is possibility of differences of opinion, there is possibility of disengagement, There's possibility of frustration as well, which can arise in the process of consolidating the group members into a cohesive group. The third stage is called norming. So normalization, so to say, of the group in terms of its group members, beginning to accept each other the way they are, beginning to acknowledge each other with their differences and differences of opinion, beginning to accept that it's okay for some to be silent and some to be vocal and some to be expressive and some to be introvert or otherwise. The attempt also at this stage is to resolve the conflicts which may emerge, resolve the differences, try and bring some kind of coherence or homogeneity to the group in an attempt to normalize the functioning of the group. The fourth stage essential is in this process is called performing, wherein as a result of normalization, as a result of norming, the roles of the different group members begin to become clear, the goals with which the group has been formed begin to fall in place, the group members begin to function in their respective roles and move towards resolution and achieving the objectives with which the group has been formed. The last stage, of course, is adjourning, wherein the group members try and bring closure to the group, try and adjourn what is required, try and decide on a future date, or disband the functioning, the need for the group to exist as such. Now the stages, the phases, the duration and the purpose of each group will vary even where each group follows these stages. So it's essential to keep these aspects in mind when we take examples in due course of working with groups and when we engage in the field with group work, so that we are aware of the phases which groups normally go through. There could be differences, of course. One, as a group worker, might oversee or tend to undermine these stages depending on the maturity, the skill and the leadership quality of the group worker. So I'm sure you're appreciating that we are trying to bring the theoretical aspects of our learning from the classroom to our practice domain in the field. And if we are in a situation where we are going to be practicing group work, or we are in a situation where it could be at a later stage, one is prepared to undertake it as a professional. I have just mentioned to you this concept, the understanding of group work, the need for formation of groups we will come to in due course. By taking an example, maybe we could make it a little clearer. In the field, for example, there might be a situation wherein an organization, an adolescent group is being brought together by a student social worker with the purpose of engaging in a sensitization program or with the purpose of enabling the group to undertake an awareness activity in their community. Or it could also be that one is engaging with the adolescent group to mentor them as leaders, as role models to function on behalf of the organization in the community. So I'm giving you a few possibilities with one such adolescent group in an organization setting, which has brought together youngsters who've been told that we are going to have a meeting, we are going to organize ourselves as a group, we are going to be given a designated space in the organization, even though it's a small room, on a Tuesday afternoon, for example, or a Sunday morning, for example, and we are all going to be coming together to discuss how we as a group can facilitate the functioning of the organization with you as our role models or as leaders of the community. So when organizing some such group, it is the effectiveness of the group worker, the student social worker, who is going to be playing a facilitative role to see What is the individual, who are the individual group members? What are the personalities they bring to the group? Do we know them individually? Can we get to know them better from what we know them? Are we aware of their names? Can we see the dynamics in the group? Can we try and understand what is the reason for the kind of dynamics which is playing out in the group? Is it possible that because of A or B or C member, some other members do not join the group that morning or that afternoon when we have called for the meeting? Can we subsequently find out the reason why the other members have not joined by reaching out to them, by contacting them? Can we also understand in the process what communication is going on among the group members? Is it coming from some other situation? Is it coming in a neutral space? Is there some reason for some conflict which may have become obvious in this group because of some conflict which may be in their respective families or among family members or between neighbors or between relatives or between extended family members and neighbors? There are so many permutations and combinations which could impact the functioning, the formation, the existence and the transaction among group members. Even when the group is organized independent of all this, it's the group worker's task, it's the group worker's role to try and understand the dynamics in the group. I hope that you are able to follow what I am trying to say through this video in discussing the importance of group work and group processes when working in the field, when engaging with the teams in the organization, and also when working with other co-workers. So there are many situations which may arise for group work. It could be that we are working along with our co-worker in an organization where teamwork is part of the process of working with organizations. It could be that we are working with groups in the community where we organize groups either of students or adolescents or children who require remedial teaching, or we may organize groups of women in self-help groups. There could be many examples which comes to mind from one's experience where group work and group workers' role is extremely important in skill building, in enabling groups to function and in enabling them to achieve the goals which they have been constituted. Two important aspects which need to be highlighted here, which I may have mentioned earlier, but we need to flag it again and reinforce it, is that democratic ways of functioning and accepting social responsibility are two essentials for undertaking group work activities. So we need to believe that as group workers, we need to be democratic, we need to be inclusive, we need to see that we do not marginalize or bias anyone from our own ways of functioning, that if there is any element of dissonance, we try and see how to handle it, with the ultimate aim that we are socially responsible for the engagements we are having, for the activities we are undertaking with the group in the given setting. Another aspect which needs to be highlighted here is that in the Indian context, largely group work is undertaken either in residential settings, in aftercare homes, in institutions where client groups are housed, in elder care homes, or in correctional settings as they used to be earlier called. Because we have client groups staying either in daycare centers or in residential settings. It is also practiced, as I mentioned a little while ago, in communities where group formation, groups are constituted, self-help groups exist or are constituted for the purpose of functioning. In some organizations there are, which are working for outreach work in communities, there are also Mahila Mandals and youth groups which are constituted. where group work is an integral part of the field work undertaken with the purpose of achieving certain set goals, with the purpose of enhancing the functioning of the organization, but also enabling the client group to achieve its functions, to achieve its goals. Having said that, again it becomes very essential that we do not undermine the role of either the group members or the group worker, because the relationship which the group worker builds or attempts to build with the group members individually and collectively is equally important in the successful functioning and goals to be achieved by the group. The participation of the group worker in an unbiased way, in a sensitive way, in a mature and practical way, keeping in mind the different aspects which need to be kept in mind when understanding individual behavior in groups, is very essential. Here, the disciplines, the learning that we get from other disciplines like education, psychology, sociology, which we bring to the social work profession, is very important, and we need to understand and accept that social work borrows a lot of knowledge and understanding from other disciplines, and this interdisciplinary approach to the field enables us to function better, to function more proactively, and to make the best use of the fieldwork opportunity provided to us. Why do you think we are approaching this aspect in an interdisciplinary way? And why do you think it is important that we draw from other disciplines? This is something for you to think about, for you to discuss, for you to dwell on, and for you to practice and see, because the sociological aspects of communities, the geographical locations of communities, the residential settings which we have for group work, the client groups which are housed in different residential settings across the country, there are a lot of variations based on the history and the geographical location. There are also a lot of variations because of cultural backgrounds, because of ethnic issues, because of their being located either in urban, rural, tribal settings. So one needs to be sensitive, to various aspects of work in engaging with group work. The group worker makes conscious use of his skills of leadership, as I mentioned, of communication, but also attempts to see that the morale of the group, the tone, the discipline that one attempts to engage with, the participation of members in the group, the conflicts which are there are amicably resolved as far as possible. And if a situation arises where because of competition or conflict or personalities or backgrounds, there are situations which make the group dysfunctional, it is essential for a student social worker, when he or she is playing the role of a group worker, to seek help of facilitators, of organizational personnel, of supervisors, of co-workers, to enhance the process and to learn from this group work exercise, to do the recording, which we will come to in a subsequent video, about how group work recording is to be undertaken. What are the nitty-gritties to be kept in mind when recording the processes which become part of the group work activity. So sensitivity to address, to approach the group members, sensitivity to deal with interpersonal differences, sensitivity to deal with sensitive issues, which again vary in nature, become very essential for a group worker to be effective. In the subsequent video, we will come to the more of the details about how group work recording can be undertaken and what are the nuances to be kept in mind when undertaking group work in different settings. Some of the settings have been flagged, have been mentioned to you. Some literature is also available for you to read and reflect on. You can definitely look at the references which are quoted so that you can understand in more detail what it entails to make group work as an essential component and why is it referred to as one of the core courses in the social work curriculum. Having said this, I do hope that you will be able to utilize the fieldwork learning in the group work space for your own learning as a student social worker and enhance your skills, your potential and your caliber in working in the field. We wish you all the best and we are sure that you will be able to make the best use of this video by supplementing and complementing it with other learning material. Thank you so much.